If you're a real estate agent doing somewhere between 5 and 10 deals a year, you already know what this feels like. You're working, you're not brand new. You've closed enough transactions to understand the business, but your income hasn't changed in the past 12 to 24 months. And here's the part that's frustrating. You might actually be working harder than the agent doing 12 deals. You're not lazy. You're not incompetent. Something else is going on. Most agents think the answer is more lead or more hours or a better market. It's usually none of those things. The plateau at 5 to 10 deals is one of the most common patterns in real estate. And after years of coaching agents through it, I can tell you it almost always comes down to the same handful of issues. The good news is they are all fixed once you know which one applies to you. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 bottlenecks that keep agents stuck in this ring, give you a self-assessment called the Plateau Diagnostic so you can identify your issue, and then show you what breaking through actually looks like. Let's start with the math, because understanding why this range is so common makes everything else make sense. Look at what 5 to 10 deals a year actually means in practice, because a lot of agents don't run the real numbers on their own business. On the Treasure Coast right now, the median sales price ranges from about $390,000 in St. Lucie County to $600,000 in Martin County. Depending upon your market, your niche, and how compensation is structured, most agents in the 5 to 10 range see somewhere between $8,000 and $15,000 per transaction in gross commission. 5 deals that put you somewhere between $40,000 and $75,000 gross. At 10 deals, that's $80,000 to $150,000 gross. Sounds reasonable on paper. But here's where it will fall apart. After your brokerage split, transaction fees, taxes, MLS dues, E&O insurance, marketing expenses, and the cost of actually running your business, the take-home is often significantly less than agents suspect. For many agents in this range, it's not a comfortable living, and it's certainly not a business. It's a job where you work more than 40 hours a week with no benefit, no guaranteed paycheck, and no equity. So the question becomes, what's actually keeping you at this level? I've identified 5 bottlenecks, and in my experience, almost every agent stuck in the 5 to 10 range has at least 2 of them. Most have 3. Let me walk you through each one. Bottleneck 1, inconsistent lead generation. I'll be specific here because this is where most agents focus first, but they usually diagnose it wrong. It's rarely a volume problem. It's a consistency problem. Here's a typical pattern. An agent closes a deal, gets busy with the transaction, stops prospecting for 3 to 4 weeks, then realizes their pipeline's empty and panics. They do a burst of activity, calls, open houses, maybe run some ads until the next deal comes in. Then the cycle repeats. Sound familiar? The feast or famine cycle is the single biggest reason agents stay in that 5 to 10 range. And the math is straightforward. If you need roughly 20 meaningful conversations to generate 1 deal, and you need 15 deals to hit your income goal, that's about 300 conversations a year, 6 per week, consistently, not 6 one week, 0 the next, 3, then 12 in panic. Most agents at 5 to 10 deals are averaging 2 to 3 conversations per week with big gaps in between. The math will never get you past 10 deals. It can't. There isn't enough pipeline being built. The fix isn't more leads. It's daily prospecting structure that runs regardless of whether you have active transactions. The agents who break through this plateau are the ones who treat lead generation as a non-negotiable activity, not something they do when they have time. Bottleneck number 2, weak follow-up system. And here's a stat that should bother you. The average real estate agent follows up with a lead 1.5 times before giving up. 1.5 times. The average real estate transaction takes 5 to 12 touch points to convert. Let that sink in. Most agents are abandoning leads right before they would have converted them. And here's the thing. This isn't a discipline problem. It's a systems problem. If your follow-up depends entirely on your memory and your to-do list, you will lose those leads. Not because you don't care, but because running a real estate business generates too many moving pieces for any human brain to track reliably. A CRM with proper follow-up cadences, task reminders, and contact categorization is the fix, not a fancy database you check occasionally, as the operating system you open every single morning before you do anything. If you're working out of a spreadsheet or your phone's contact list right now, you are leaving money on the table every single month. I don't say that to be dramatic. I say it because I've watched agents double their conversion rate just by implementing a real follow-up system in their CRM. Leads were already there. They were just falling through the cracks. Bottleneck 3, poor time architecture. And I deliberately don't call it time management because that implies the problem is managing your existing time better. The real problem is that agents at this level have no architecture to their week at all. Here's what a typical day looks like, and tell me if this sounds familiar. You wake up, check your email, respond to whatever feels urgent, make a few calls, get pulled into a showing request, spend an hour scrolling through social media, telling yourself it's marketing. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you haven't done a single proactive business building activity all day. Then you wonder why you're stuck. It's not a time management problem. That's a structural problem. You're living in reaction mode, and reaction mode will keep you exactly where you are. Time architecture means designing your week before it starts. It means knowing which hours are for prospecting, which are for client work, which are for admin, and which are for personal time, and protecting those blocks the same way you'd protect an appointment with your most important client. The agents I work with who break through the plateau almost all make the same structural change. They spend the first 2 to 3 hours of every day on proactive activities, calls, follow-ups, content creation, relationship building, everything reactive, email, paperwork, showing requests, get pushed to the afternoon. That's one change. That's it. And it often accounts for a 30 to 50% increase in productivity activity without working a single additional hour. You're not doing more. You're doing the right thing at the right time. Bottleneck number 4, no business tracking. And I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second. If I asked you right now, how many conversations did you have last week? How many of those resulted in the next step? What's your conversion rate from initial contact to signed agreement? What's your average number of days from first conversation to closing? If you can't answer those questions, you can't diagnose your plateau. You're just guessing. Most agents at the 5 to 10 level operate on feel. I feel like I'm busy. I feel like I'm making enough calls. I feel like leads aren't converting. Without data, you can't tell the difference between a lead generation problem and a conversion problem. And the fix for each is completely different. If your problem is lead generation, you need more conversation. If your problem is conversion, you need better conversation or better follow-up. Those are two very different solutions. And without tracking, you'll never know which one applies to you. You'll just keep guessing and wondering why nothing changes. But here's the good news. Tracking doesn't need to be complicated. 3 numbers matter most. Conversations per week, appointments per week, deals under contract per month. If you track these 3 metrics consistently for 90 days, the bottleneck will reveal itself in the data. You won't have to guess any. Bottleneck number 5. And this is the one nobody wants to talk about: environment. brokerage environment directly affects your ability to break through a plateau. If your broker doesn't know your name, doesn't know your production goal, and doesn't actively coach you on your business, you're operating without a key advantage. And be clear about something. There is a meaningful difference between a brokerage that provides a desk, a logo, and a split, and a broker that provides coaching, accountability, systems, and technology designed to help you grow. Both are legitimate models. Neither one's wrong. But if you're stuck at 5 deals to 10 deals and you're in an environment that doesn't offer structured support, the environment itself may be the bottleneck. This isn't about which brand is on your business card. It's about whether your broker is invested in your trajectory or simply processing transactions. Ask yourself honestly, does my broker know my goals? When was the last time I had a real coaching conversation? Not just a transaction review. Is the technology at my brokerage helping me grow, or is it just there to check a box? If those answers don't feel good, the environment might be the thing worth looking at, even if everything else in your business is solid. Now, I want to give you a tool you can use right now. I call it the Plateau Diagnostic. It's a simple self-assessment I use in coaching conversations to help agents figure out exactly which bottleneck is holding them back. Here's how it works. Rate yourself honestly on each of these 5 areas. 1 means this is completely broken in my business. 5 means this is genuine strength. Area 1, lead generation consistency. Do you have a daily prospecting routine that runs every single working day, regardless of whether you have acted? Or do you go through feast and famine cycle, where you prospect hard for a week, then disappear for 3? Be honest, 1 through 5. Area 2, follow-up system. Every contact, every conversation, every next step tracked in a CRM with scheduled follow-ups and automated cadences. Or are you working from memory, sticky notes, and hoping you'll remember to call people back? 1 through 5. Area 3, time architecture. Do you have a structured weekly schedule with protected prospecting blocks in the morning that treat it as a non-negotiable, or do you wake up every day and react to whatever comes at you? 1 through 5. Area 4, business tracking. Can you tell me right now, without looking up anything, your conversation, appointments, and contracts for the past 30 days? Or are you operating on feel? 1 through 5. Area 5, environment and support. Does your broker know your name and your goals? Do you have a regular coaching or accountability check-ins? Is the technology at your brokerage integrated and actually helping you, or is it getting in the way? 1 through 5. Now add up your scores. If your total is under 15, you found the reason you've plateaued. The areas where you scored 1 or 2, those are your highest leverage opportunities. Fix those first, not the areas where you're already at 4 or 5. Most agents I work with score between 10 and 14 on their first honest pass. That's not failure. That's clarity. Plateau exists because 1 or 2 systems are missing, not because everything is broken. So now you know your bottleneck. Here's what the fix looks like for each one, because breaking through the 5 to 10 plateau isn't about a dramatic overhaul. It's about usually fixing 1 or 2 specific things and maintaining the discipline to let the results compound over 90 to 180 days. If your bottleneck is lead generation, set a daily minimum activity and track it. The 10-2-1 rule. Rule 1 I teach in our first 90-day framework works just as well for a 3-year agent as it does for a brand new one. 10 conversations, 2 new contacts, 1 follow-up every single working day. If you did nothing else but commit to your rhythm for 90 days, your pipeline would look completely different. If your bottleneck is lead follow-up, get serious about your CRM. Every contact, every conversation, every next step logged and scheduled. No exception. If your current CRM isn't working for you, it's worth looking at tools that integrate lead management, task automation, and pipeline tracking into one system instead of cobbling together 3 or 4 separate tools. Your CRM should be the first thing you open every morning and the last thing you update every evening. If your bottleneck is time architecture, build your ideal week on paper before you start living it. Block your mornings for proactive work, prospecting follow-ups, relationship building. Those happen before noon. Everything reactive gets the afternoon. Protect those morning blocks like client appointment. Review your schedule every Sunday evening so you start Monday with a plan and not a question mark. If your bottleneck is track it, start this week. 3 numbers: conversations, appointments, contracts. Write it down daily. Review weekly. You'll know within 30 days exactly where the leaks in your pipeline are. This is the fastest diagnostic tool in the business, and it costs you nothing but 5 minutes a day. If your bottleneck is environment, have an honest conversation with yourself first. What is your brokerage actually providing versus what do you need to break through? Then have an honest conversation with your broker. If those 2 conversations don't align, if what you need and what's available don't match, maybe time to evaluate your options. That's not disloyalty. That's a business decision. Before I wrap this up, I want to address something direct because I see it constantly with agents at this level. It's the belief that the answer is simply working harder. If you're already putting in 45 to 50 hours a week and doing 7 deals a year, effort is not your problem. You could work 60 hours a week and you'd probably still do 7 to 9 deals. You'd just be more exhausted. The shift that breaks the plateau isn't working harder. It's working differently. More effort without better structure gets you to burn out faster. It doesn't get you to 12 deals. Systems create leverage. Structure creates leverage. The right environment creates leverage. Effort without leverage is just a faster hamster wheel. If you're feeling stuck right now, and I know a lot of you watching this are, I want you to hear this clearly. It's probably not a you problem. It's a systems problem. And system problems have system solutions. That's the whole point of what we just walked through. At LYNQ, the Plateau Diagnostic is actually part of how we work with agents who come in doing 5 to 10 deals. We don't start by talking about commission splits or marketing tools. We start by identifying the bottleneck. Then we build around it. That might mean restructuring an agent CRM and follow-up cadences. It might mean implementing a time-blocking system and building accountability into their weekly rhythm. It might mean providing access to lead generation tools and training they didn't have before. The point isn't that we have some magic solution. The point is that breaking through a plateau requires coaching, structure, and an environment that's actively designed to support growth, not just process transactions. And that's what we've built here on the Treasure Coast.